Hello and welcome to Swiftly Spoken, a fan-made Taylor Swift podcast in which we break down her lyrics, deep dive into full album retrospectives, and theorize about what may be coming next. We are your hosts, Lisa and Cameron, and in this episode, that is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be theorizing and talking about our predictions for what is coming next for Taylor in 2024. So to kick us off, firstly, we would both like to say Happy New Year to everyone. This is our first episode of this year, and we wanted to start off with a bang by going over everything we think might happen in 2024, what Taylor's 2024 might look like, and we're going to be setting up these predictions by going through a bingo card of ideas. We've seen people do this on the internet. It's a fun way to talk about, what we think might be coming next.
And to be fair, what's quite fun is we can kind of revisit this at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And kind of bookmark the year by this. And then at the end, when we kind of do our awards, which I know we've only just done, so that's just ridiculous to even be mentioning.
Crazy to think, yeah.
When we do our year recap awards, we can include that in the episode and then basically cross it off and see if we do cross off anything on the bingo card, if anything was just a ridiculous suggestion. And yeah, it would just be fun to kind of bookmark each end of the year with this and see what we anticipate and then what we did or didn't get right and what was the eventual result of the year.
Yeah, will we get a bingo at all in any way possible? That'll be very interesting to see.
Fingers crossed.
Because sometimes
fingers crossed.
Sometimes we do kind of accidentally predict things. Other times we have had predictions go completely wrong. So anyway, let us know in the comments as we go through this which ones you think are the most plausible, are the most realistic, are the ones which you disagree with, and if you like as well, you can make your own bingo card and tag us and show us what you think 2024 holds in store for us. So yeah, let's go through this bingo card that we've made up, and we've tried to do it in chronological order to some extent, although there is a bit of a mix of all different things. Like I said, some things are more realistic than others. This is a disclaimer just to say we don't expect all of these things to come true. Obviously, there are our predictions, but we know that some of them are a bit out there. Others are quite realistic, I think. And if we get everything, if we get nothing, if we get something, if we get a completely different board that completes our 2024, obviously as fans of Taylor, we'll be very happy with anything that she brings out for us and we'll celebrate it either way. So kicking us off, we have something that we will be seeing very, very soon if this comes true or not. And that is Taylor wins a Grammy, the first one for the Song of the Year for Anti-Hero.
Oh, fingers crossed. We've been banging on about this for a while. This time last year, we literally had an episode about hoping that All Too Well would win Song of the Year, and I do think it was wrongfully
robbed.
Robbed. And you can hear that reaction when it's announced. The crowd are like, what the hell? Because everyone just assumed that song was going to get it because it was so deserving. But, these things happen for a reason, and hopefully that's because, Anti-Hero will be the first to take the crown. And I do generally I do think with the Grammys, we've spoken off air, that sounds so professional, off air about this quite a few times. Basically, we've both kind of said, haven't we, that we think that, or we've kind of, or at least I've said, that I just can't see them giving her the big album of the year again. I just can't see them giving her album of the year four times and so soon off the back of Folklore.
I know.
And I feel like Midnight's is so deserving of it, and I do believe that if...
But there is big competition in all of the big... In all the big categories this year, the big three especially.
Yes, 100%.
The competition is harsh, I have to say. If you look at it.
Oh yeah, you've got some of the some absolute titans of songs from last year. When you think of Flowers is up against Anti-Hero in a couple of categories, and Flowers was the biggest song of at least the first half
portion of the year
last year, if not, the majority of the year. And then you've got some titans of albums as well that, like Scissors, SOS.
Lana's in there.
So, Lana, exactly. I feel like it's tough competition. So I do believe that Midnight's is obviously deserving, and I do think that it will take something. I just don't think maybe it'll be all of the big ones. And I hope that if it was going to pull a big one, it would be Song of the Year, because I feel like Taylor deserves to have it. But I wouldn't mind a Best Pop Vocal. Right. I do think it's really deserving of that, and that's a good way to really nominate it as an album. But I just don't think they'll I would love them to give her obviously, but I don't think they will.
We are Swifties first and foremost,
an ask.
So we want her to win everything, but we understand that it's a tough competition this year, and if anything, that's realistic. Why we've kind of mentioned Song of the Year, just because of she is the most nominated person in this category ever. It's absolutely insane,
and having lyrics
like "Did
you hear my covert narcissism?"
It's a big song.
Anti-Hero is so well written and is a big song.
But I just feel like we're getting deja vu because this is what we discussed last year, and we spoke about, extensively spoke about All Too Well, and the beauty of the story of it being this 10-year-old hit that was, if you want to hear that episode, we'll link it. But these things happen for a reason, like you said, and also, again, there are other songs and other people out there who are also deserving of awards and must be recognised as well. We get that. But anyway, we're rooting for Anti-Hero first and foremost. That's our guess for the Grammys. And like we said, we'll find out very, very soon if this comes true or not. And I guess then we turn to Reputation, Taylor's version, because our next few guesses all stem and have a bit to do with that. So
yes,
it's coming next, right?
Oh, 100%. Like, Taylor, as we've said a million times, not to sound like a broken record, but Taylor is so clear with Easter eggs. She's so clear with when she mentions stuff. And before a release, there's either been a mention of it or just the most obvious teasing ever. And obviously in her Time 100, she literally talked about the Reputation Vault, said it was fire. And the main crux of that interview was discussing a lot of the stuff that happened pre and during the Reputation era.
It was a big setup.
So, that was...
Really?
Exactly. There was a topic of conversation, and there's a reason for that, because she's almost recontextualizing that period in her life before she then re-releases the art from that period in her life. So I think 100% is next. Like, it would just be silly not to be.
Yeah. So we have, as our bingo card entry, Reputation, Taylor's version, February, meaning... I really honestly think announcement and release in February. I think we get the whole shebang, to be honest with you.
Me too, I think so. And obviously around that time she is in Japan, in Tokyo, and obviously the Reputation Stadium tour did finish there. That's where technically the Reputation era came to an end.
That's such a nice little way to tie it all together.
Exactly. So fingers crossed it could maybe be reignited back in Tokyo. Or fingers crossed.
Yeah,
I just hope so.
It makes sense to me.
That'd be a cool way.
It makes sense to me. But so with that in mind, we've also added Reputation Taylor's version has collaborations on it. Because obviously we did discuss whether or not 1989 would have collaborations. Then we did give ideas for who we would like to see on 1989. And although we did guess that it would have collaborations, or we even might have a special release, we kind of did have Kendrick, but it doesn't really count because it's not in the vault. So in a way, we didn't get vault collaborations. So we were completely wrong on that count. But here we have put that we do think we will see a return of collaborators for those vault tracks.
I do think so. I think that Taylor she knew that 1989 was going to be big, and I think she really wanted to do it on her own. And I think that that's an even bigger feat, is to, be a totally solo album and to hit that kind of pull. And, the only reason people are going to it is because of you. No one else is pulling any other attention. And I think, that was probably the reason. But I do think it's quite nice having the collabs, and I think that previously they've been quite successful.
Oh, definitely.
And I think that Reputation serves that as well. Like, it's already got 2 collaborations in the actual album with Future and Ed. So there's already 2 people, there's already 2 collaborators, so why not bring in a couple more? And I think like Fearless and Red as well had their standard albums had collabs. They had quite heavy collab vaults. Obviously Speak Now wasn't the case. OG album doesn't have collabs but does in the vault. So obviously, it's all up in the air, but I do think that it serves quite well, and it's very pop, easy to bring people in, bring some rappers in, stuff like that with Future and Ed. And I would really like Reputation to be the time that we finally get Selena and Taylor. I really, really, really think that would be a really cool time to see them together on a song.
Honestly, I believe that was one of our original guesses back in the day from an episode that we released now 2 years ago, which is crazy to think.
Nuts. And the fact is, we did that episode because we thought at the time that
scared.
Reputation was coming. So we were like, we need to get this episode out now, which is just ridiculous, really. We had enough time. And I believe we also potentially mentioned people like Drake. But I'm not sure if that's realistic.
That's not
now.
aged very well, no. So perhaps as the time nears and depending on the information we get, obviously you can count on us to go through all of the theories and information and whatever. If the release is like announcement release, obviously we'll be reacting to everything that happens. If we do have announcement and then we have a space before the release, we will be like, going over all the information like we did for 1989, Taylor's version. But yeah, I agree with you. Selena Gomez would be a nice touch to it. I'd love to see it. Again, links to the Reputation Taylor's version of it all. I kind of added this one because I don't know how you feel about it, but I do think whenever it gets announced or released, if it's around the tour time, which I believe it will be, and I did something bad, special performance of some kind. Maybe not just acoustic, maybe, I don't know, maybe even we get it in the set list. Wait, how iconic would this be? I'm about to clown a little bit.
I'll say, where in the set list,
Okay, because we've got to get rid of something from Reputation, I guess, if we're going to add it.
Or maybe you could add it, but if it's just like a special... But I feel like the production element that would have to...
I know, it's a lot of work.
I feel like it would be wasted on just like one. But to be fair,
that's true.
I suppose Nothing New, what's it, Haim, they have done it. Just for a couple of shows.
That is true. So maybe we get a couple of shows.
Just in Tokyo or something.
Yeah, in Tokyo, celebrating the announcement and possible release of Reputation Taylor's version. I don't know.
Where would I Did Something Bad go? Because I think Ready for It is the opener.
Yes,
it's a natural opener. Would it go after Ready for It? Because then Don't Blame Me and Don't Blame Me, sorry.
And Look What You Made Me Do, but very, very much
into
linked.
each other. So they're like, they're one.
Maybe
so
after Look What You Made Me Do.
Delicate.
Maybe after Look What You Made Me Do. Yeah. So like we don't think anything's going to happen, and then she's like, "Wait, I did something bad," and the something bad is.
And after the snake, then she like.
Yeah,
the snake
I don't know.
Back.
Maybe I don't know. And if not, we can still count this as a win if she does perform it on the announcement acoustically. Yeah. I think so. We've kind of been cheeky.
And to be fair, the previous like changes with Nothing New and Haim, they've been at the start of a set list, start of an era or end of an era. So maybe at the end of the era, like Nothing New was.
We shall see. And finally, for Reputation Taylor's version, our last prediction is that, again, this time we will get an MV.
Oh, I hope so. Taylor said, didn't she, all the way back in The Red, that she was giving music videos to songs or, just giving special attention to stuff that fans have always begged for. Obviously, everyone's always begged for a Getaway Car music video. And I wouldn't put it past her,
Okay.
Because it hasn't had one previously, so why not? But I feel like the focus has always been on the Vault ones. But I feel like maybe she might give special treatment. Maybe. I feel like there will be a music video though.
Right. Because again, we didn't get a music video for 1989. It makes sense. There was so much going on at that point.
We were in like the crux of the Eras tour.
It was when she finally had a break that she released 1989. But now we've had a couple of months. Obviously, we don't want to overwork her, poor thing. But she has had time.
Go film a music video. You know what I mean? On your Christmas break, Christmas Day, she's in the studio. Yeah.
Get in that studio. No. So but we would love to see it, and we think that perhaps we will be getting something more for Reputation. So then we move on to things that we might see happening at the Eras Tour. So this year, we both attend the Eras Tour.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which is scary and exciting. So we have a few different predictions towards what's going to happen. So number one, and I think this is the safest one of them all, right? Costume changes.
Oh, this would this bingo square will be
it's going to be ticked
off 100%.
Right? Yeah,
it's coming.
It's one of the most exciting things. Honestly, I love seeing costume changes. I love seeing the variants. I don't know why they're just so good.
It's just fun, isn't it? It makes it fun, doesn't it? Of not really knowing
what she's going to wear.
Like I know that set list inside out. I've watched the Eras Tour film more times.
But you never know what she might rock up wearing. You never know.
Exactly, which that's what makes it fun. And I do think the Reputation is the big one, and I do think that costume change will change on the announcement.
Oh, okay,
100%.
okay.
Whenever it gets announced.
Yep.
If it gets announced, that would be the day, wouldn't it, to change it? You know, like when she did 1989, where all the outfits were blue.
Yeah, and everyone knew. We all knew. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh my God, this is coming.
I hope so. That sounds so cool. That is the one, right? Because every other era has had some change somehow. I guess Red hasn't really, but Red does have a few variants in the t-shirt at least. But Reputation has literally only been that one single costume for the whole thing. For a whole year.
Exactly.
It needs to be retired.
Yeah. And surely it needs to be washed and dry cleaned, you know? Surely it needs, some time away. So yeah, I think Lover, definitely there's going to be loads more.
Yeah, I'm seeing at least a couple more.
Has so many options.
Oh, yes. Yeah, or pastels, every pastel.
Maybe at least another 1989 one, potentially.
Okay, so that means another surprise one hand in hand with it.
Yeah, I think maybe another Midnight's one, to be fair, as well.
Ooh, I'd like that as well.
Because we got that one right at the end, didn't we, in kind of LA with the one with the holes.
Yep, that's true. Yeah. There's a few of them that haven't had...
That's such a treasure.
Yeah, we're very good at describing details over
yeah, that's really well described.
But I think that some of them haven't really had even a chance to shine. For example, that Last Lover variant, which is absolutely top-notch. Love that variant.
Yeah, the pink.
Love that pink variant.
Yes.
And we only have seen it a couple of times since she's introduced it, so I'd love to see that some more as well.
And even some of the blue ones that haven't really had much time either.
Yeah,
there's still lots of room for them to have a couple more appearances.
So conversely to that thought, though we do see quite a few costume changes in our future, we don't see any big set list changes. So we think, the set list is going to stick to what we know, although we've put big set list changes. So small things, perhaps one song in, one song out, like she did sometimes last time. We can see that happening, but not like a big overhaul, shall we say.
No. Yeah, and I think, to be fair, that's more wishful thinking, because I'm like, I don't want certain stuff to go. I like it as it is. I want to see it as it is. I think it's more just wishful thinking, but I don't think anything too major. Like, she's got the film, like people are now so... But then I suppose maybe people are now so accustomed to that set list that she's thinking, well,
this is it.
Surprise.
This is it. I don't know. It is kind of nerve-wracking, and we shall all be seated. It does feel like a reboot of the Eras Tour this year in many ways, because time has passed. I don't know. On one hand, I can't see everything changing, that is for sure. But on the other hand, I do feel like there are some songs that could be in danger. But again, no big set list changes.
Which ones?
I don't know. Maybe songs that were cut off from the Eras Tour film, to be honest with you. The ones that can easily be switched out for another song that hasn't got like the big, should we say, production of it all. Like there's no dancers involved. There's no choreography. So it's something that can be more, quote unquote, easily switched out.
Yeah, like the one Invisible String.
Exactly. That changed because in the end it's just Taylor up on the roof, right? So
roof, yeah. Or even things like the Archer where she's just wandering around. Again, that's probably wishful thinking. That gets changed out.
Oh, the Archer. Oh.
But yeah, I don't think anything too major. Fingers crossed.
Right.
I'm hoping that we'll be able to tick that box off as well at the end of the year.
And then going into specific predictions regarding songs. Paris in Paris. It just makes sense.
We can tick that off already.
Yeah.
We can tick
it's
that
like the April 29th thing last year. Like I was adamant she's going to sing it, and she did. Last Kiss on them days, she did.
Yeah.
Paris in Paris. And along those same lines, we can also mention London Boy, specifically at your show, Cameron.
Yes. Fingers crossed. She's got to play it in London. Like, come on. She's saving it. Like, she hasn't played it. You can't play London Boy in Sydney. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be in London, and it has to be at my night. It has to be come on, you've got to say it for me. London Boy is literally like top 2 for me on Lover. I want to hear it in London. It has to be.
London Boy in London.
That has to be crossed off.
She's not going to do it before. She's not going to do it after. That's for sure. That is the time. So yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Maybe she'll just have to do that. Maybe that would just become the part of the set list. It has to be on the Lover section of the set list for the entirety of London, because everyone's going to want to hear that song.
That is true. That'd be cool. That'd be very cool. But if not, at least it's an acoustic. Yeah.
Yes.
Call the Archer. Leave it alone.
Oh, come on. I would who would? No one's going to go, yeah, I prefer to it. Well, some people will. But,
Yeah, there's
anyone with
for
any
everyone.
sense.
But no, it would definitely... London Boy will go off in London. It will. And that will transform the song.
Gotta love the English.
It'd be fun. Exactly, yeah. And along these same lines, if you get London Boy, I would like surprise Aaron Dessner at my show. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yes. And perform like an Evermore deep cut.
My beloved. Happiness, my beloved. I actually prefer Evermore, the song, above Happiness, but because Happiness hasn't been performed yet, that's why I'm kind of, going towards that one. But either way, I don't care. Any song. I just love to see Aaron Dessner. I just love to see him. And the stars seem to have aligned for them to be at the same place at the same time. But we'll see.
Yes, previously. So let's see. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. I think, yeah.
And again, it's going back to the UK. Something special will be announced in those London shows. I mean, it's such a long run at Wembley. And
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's such a long run in Wembley, and it's such a long run in the UK.
I believe it's record-breaking.
Yes, I believe so, in Wembley, definitely. And it's a bit like, the LA shows, or the Nashville shows. It's those. It's hopefully going to give that kind of vibe.
It does feel like a high point of the tour, where something's going to go down. Madness is going to ensue. I don't know what. We haven't specified what, but something. There's going to be, like the Speak Now release day show, or the LA shows that were recorded. I think it feels like one of those.
100%. And I do think there'll be special guests and stuff, things like that. Taylor, previously in London, has always brought out special guests, like Hyde Park. She brought out basically the entirety of the Victoria's Secret fashion show models. And then obviously Wembley for Rep, she brought out Noel Horan and
Robbie Williams. Yeah.
And even in Red Tour and stuff has brought out multiple artists during the London nights as well. So it's a bit of a thing that she likes to do in London. And obviously she's been brought out many a times in London herself.
True.
So hopefully maybe she'll return the favour.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
Let's hope so. And speaking about surprise people or surprise performances, I do think, although this one's a bit up in the air at the moment due to recent events, but we'll leave it as we have it at the moment. Castle's crumbling with Hayley Williams from Paramore at some point. The same as she did with Haim, the same as she did with Phoebe Bridgers. Yeah.
I do think this bingo square is again one that will be crossed off by the end of the year, because it will happen. I just hope, and I know this sounds really selfish, but I just hope that Long Live doesn't take
she better not move Long Live one little inch.
No. It has to be an addition, not a replacement.
Or
those are two very
distinct
things.
Or at a few specific shows. Just don't move that Long Live, because I can't deal with that. Please, or Enchanted.
No. Yeah.
Neither.
Yeah, or Enchanted. Yeah.
Keep
Speak Now is short
the gems
as it is,
from Speak Now. Exactly. And then we have a blank space. Although I do think the bingo card itself, we're probably going to remix around. We'll shuffle it so we don't have any bias towards, and that way we can see if we're lucky enough and how the cards fall.
Yeah. Exactly, because otherwise we've got like a whole line of Rep.
Exactly. So if one goes, we know we'll have the whole, we'll have the thing. So hopefully we'll remix this all. And so when you're watching this video, we'll have the image up on screen and you can kind of like see where the chips have fallen. But anyway, continuing on with Eras Tour content and things, this one honestly can happen probably before the Eras Tour even restarts up again, although it might be saved for the end of the tour. I'm not sure. What do you think? Eras Tour on streaming. I do think it's going to come.
Oh, 100.
But
oh, yeah, 100 million%. Yeah, I feel like maybe in a gap between tour, a bit like with the release of the film itself, because I feel like they'll give it a bit of a moment.
Right.
But yeah, it will definitely happen. Like, should be silly not to. Obviously, at the moment, they've had the kind of Christmas period and New Year period where people are at home, purchasing out at home. There might even maybe be another round at cinema. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it will definitely go on streaming at some point. It would be silly not to, and hopefully it will have a physical release as well.
Really yes, yeah. It's funny because physical media, like for DVDs and things, is not something that has had such a big rebirth as CDs have.
CDs and vinyl, yeah.
CDs and vinyl have gone crazy. Like, people actually want to own them again, especially people from fandoms like, Swifties or other fandoms of musicians. To be honest with you, it has become a collectionist thing, whereas DVDs, I'm not sure if the same revival has happened for them. I don't
think so. No, I don't think they have, and I think that most people would demand like a CD or a vinyl, like a live album over a DVD, I think. Whereas back in the day, it would be, it's getting released on DVD.
Right, which is another interesting point. And we can mention this one here. We also have on our bingo card, Eras Tour live album. Interesting thought. Could we actually get, instead of a DVD, something similar to the Speak Now World Tour CD, which has a DVD?
100%.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be a good way, actually, to get around it, would be to...
Live album, CD and DVD.
Package it as one.
That would be
exactly, yeah.
hefty CD.
I'm hoping that... because I do think that's going to happen. Like, they've already released Cruel Summer, live from the Eras Tour.
And we have a few acoustic ones as well. I just, in a way, I'd love every single one.
Yes, every single acoustic song.
Because they're recording them.
Version ever.
They have the recording.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Imagine, God, it's going to be hard for them to pick. Imagine having to pick the ones that they do have. Because to be fair, on the Speak Now World Tour CD,
we have a mix of
they obviously
things.
Added. Yeah, they added a couple of kind of covers that weren't on the DVD itself. Exactly. And then in the special release versions with the white cover, they then added a couple of other covers, but they were DVD. They were bonuses on the DVD rather than on the CD. So it's slightly confusing, but hopefully we'll get a couple like that, where it's we get a couple of surprise ones, extra ones on the DVD, if there was a DVD, and an extra on the CD. But fingers crossed. I hope so. I really hope so. I think it'll definitely be on streaming. Fingers crossed. Taylor's going to want to make more money, bless her. She loves it.
It is what it is.
They're going to want to make money out of it. Why not? Because otherwise people will just buy fake versions.
At least make it a cool version. Also make it accessible. As we always say, we want everyone to be able to access it one way or another. That's why streaming services is a really good one to have it on, of course. But also, if you're going to do a product, the whole shebang. Why not? And finally, speaking about the tour, we've also added a square in which we've put the tour close date, the closing moment, the final closing moment. Maybe she's going to announce something that will be released on her birthday. She likes to celebrate her birthday with specific things, something comes out, an album, a big announcement.
Evermore.
Yeah. A big publication coming out. She likes to celebrate her birthday and give us a little something. You're losing me, So maybe the tour closing dates are so close to her birthday this year. I know, again, it's crazy to talk about December right now, but perhaps there'll be something tied in. Again, it's going to be a big night, I think.
Oh, yes, 100%. 100%. I think something. We'll get into potentially what it could be later on the bingo card, because we have a couple that hint. But I do think something around birthday, definitely. Some announcements / release towards the end of tour / birthday, definitely.
We're getting into slowly as we go along to some of the more unhinged ones, so don't judge us as we go into them. We'll go through them. But anyway, another one, bringing it back in time, because this is usually around April time, although I'm not sure of this year's one. Record Store Day. So you're the expert with all of this. What's your prediction?
I think definitely something will happen. We've obviously had, last year we had Long Pond. Then a couple of years ago we had the Lakes. Gorgeous release. Then we had the Lakes 7-inch. And literally last year Taylor topped every single vinyl sales album thing ever. Vinyl is now such an integral part of Taylor's releases. So she'd be silly not to. But often the stuff that gets released on Record Store Day is stuff that already is available on streaming. So I don't think that it would be something like an Eras Tour live, unless that comes out ASAP.
Yeah.
I think that potentially, how she did the Lover live from Paris, but obviously we already had that on streaming. So maybe potentially something like a 7-inch of the Cruel Summer live.
Yes.
Or something like that. I feel that would be a good thing. Keep it Eras Tour, keep it very of the moment. Cruel Summer is still doing well as a single, so obviously it would help towards that anyway. So I think that would be potentially something that could be released. But hopefully we get Record Store Day. I think they are really fun. They are really stressful. But last year, they had such a massive amount made because they knew the demand was there that it wasn't as stressful as previous years. But hopefully, because it's always fun.
Yeah, definitely. I love seeing it. I love seeing the designs. I love seeing people, receiving it and laying it out. I don't participate myself because I don't collect vinyl. If I started, I don't know where I'd end up. So, but no, I think some of the designs are absolutely beautiful and I love to see them. So we'll see. Yeah, definitely. Another one, which now that we've spoken about some of the Reputation things and our prediction for it being quite soon, to be honest, I'm not sure about this one anymore, but we have added Taylor's version droplets. For example, Need is a need.
Yes, Need and Sweeter Than Fiction on streaming.
Yeah.
I don't. It's one of those things where it's like, I feel like it isn't ridiculous to suggest, because obviously she's done it before. Why wouldn't she do it again?
Exactly.
But then it's also like, why wait this long? Like, why not have done it ages ago?
I understand some of the reasonings, but at the same time, I don't, for releasing all of the girls you loved before, but not releasing Need alongside of
it. Yeah. But then what then makes me think, oh, maybe not, because I'm thinking what is left over that is a droplet. But I suppose there is a couple, because we have like I Don't Want to Live Forever,
exactly.
but that could probably be pulled onto rep.
Yes, although I do feel like she's being much more discerning and selective as she goes along. She started with throwing everything in the kitchen sink onto Fearless, yeah, give it Today Was a Fairy Tale, give it this, give it that. And for Red, to be honest with you, she did add
Red, Ronan.
Yeah, which again, I'm very glad. And to be honest, I wish it was like that for all of them, because I love them to have this physical home forever. I think it's a bit sad that if I want to listen to Safe and Sound and Eyes Open, I have to specifically...
Or if this was a movie.
...search for it. Yeah, especially if this was a movie. Poor thing. Got rehomed. But yeah. And I love that we do have what we have in the physical versions of Fearless and Red, Taylor's version. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit in two minds about this, because especially if we are going to get Reputation so soon, perhaps, I know this is a very debated thing within the fandom, and some of you guys have commented this before, that you think that Need may appear in the Reputation Vault.
Yes, there is a potential of that, and also with the previous one, basically all the songs were stuff that was actually more Speak Now era, like Safe and Sound, Eyes Open, and If This Was a Movie, obviously, and they were then housed onto albums that had already been released. So it would mean that if we were going to get a droplet pre-rep, they would have to fit on 1989 and basically all like Red, Speak Now, all the ones that have currently been released. So obviously Sweeter Than Fiction, that's fine, 1989, Need, Lover, but then I Don't Want to Live Forever or Crazier, but then what if Crazier's been given a home with debut?
Crazier can easily fit on Fearless, I guess.
Yeah.
But I Don't Want to Live Forever 1989, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I can't see it happening, to be honest with you. I know we've added this, but if we get any droplet at all, I'll count it as a win.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Or if we get Need in any form, I count this as a win for this particular one as well. Still, we shall see. And now we go into the debatable ones. Some of you guys maybe are going to hate us for these predictions. Some of you guys maybe going to love us. But we are going into some TS11 predictions. So Taylor Swift's 11th studio album.
That's mental. 11 albums.
I know. We've predicted it for the second half of the year. And I stick to it. I feel
I can see
like she has something to say. I do.
Yes, she's had a lot of life experience since the last time we heard from her in a more new capacity, in terms of, not just Vault songs. Midnight's, those songs, as we know, were written 2021.
Exactly.
So that's a long time. We're 3 years out from there. There's so much life experience that's happened.
And we know that she spent a hefty amount of time in the studio last year.
The studio, yes, exactly.
And she's not hidden that at all.
No, exactly. She's made it very, very clear. I don't think that's unrealistic, to be fair. I really don't. But I do think that I do think that it would be towards the end of the year. I don't think she would want to start the year off with that. That seems quite intense to start the tour and start with a new album.
Exactly, especially because she's got Reputation coming.
It would mean, if she did do it as well, surely then it would have to have some segment on the tour.
I feel like if she does do it, and it's
she'd have to close the tour with it. Do you think?
I think that she would add it in the tour acoustically. Honestly, play
really?
it in the acoustic set every so often, like a new song every night or something, if she was to release it during the tour. I think that's a compromise, I think.
You know the tour closer / birthday release bingo cube that we talked about earlier? I think that this
perhaps
would potentially link with that.
I think so. I agree. We're not gonna combine them just in case, because we want to reap all of the rewards. But I do think that could be a thing. And a lot of debate and a lot of theories have come up, obviously, over the last few months towards Taylor Swift's 11th studio album. A lot of people leaning towards, and this goes to another guess we have, the theme of the album perhaps being something to do with astrology, stars, Sagittarius. People have been debating these themes and topics for a while. And on our card, we have TS11 silver and gold aesthetic. And I stick with that. I feel like it's not a colour, because colours are obviously quite important in Taylor's discography. And silver and gold colours, those kind of like jewelry colours, should we say, aren't really prominent. I guess gold is a bit fearlessy, but silver, we've got grey, but we haven't really got silver. Yeah. So I'm feeling that, something like that.
Or maybe even like a rose goldy colour.
Yeah, like jewelry
that might be a bit
colours.
Lover.
Yeah.
But then, to be fair, she's kind of duplicated colours with like Midnight's like dark blue.
Oh yeah, just a shade, blue, so... a little bit of a different shade or whatever. And then the overall aesthetic, obviously, then would be carved out. I don't know what it would be, but those are the ideas. Yeah,
she's going to run out of colours soon. Like, there's only so many colours that she can pick before she has to start being like, okay, we're going to have to put out another Red album. You know, like Red 2.0. This is like more orange red colour,
exactly.
There's only so much that she can do.
But honestly, there's a couple of things that I believe after the Eras tour we're going to kind of like bookmark that, and then she's going to have more freedom going forward. One of them is going to be that bloody Lover House. Let's leave that.
Oh, thank God, yeah.
Let's leave that in the past.
Let's leave that in 2023. Yeah,
and
that is
the other thing
not
being the
on
colours.
This bingo card.
Yeah, yes. No, definitely. Yeah. No more Lover House.
Lover House is
investigation. It's done. It's had its moment. But another thing is the color blocking. Obviously, I love the color blocking. I love having like every album and how it's worked out. And I do think obviously she will always be very mindful of her aesthetics, and every album will always have a particular aesthetic, because that is just how Taylor is, how detailed she is with these things. But if we repeat colours, I don't think it will be such a big deal anymore, basically. Finally, as for the 11th studio album, another theory that we have on here, which I think I pushed a bit more for this one than you did, but we can discuss, is that somehow the album is going to be like Midnight's counterpart. I'm not even sure what I mean. I think maybe like aesthetically, I think not so much in storytelling, because I don't think she's going to be revisiting specific moments again, like we've done that concept. But somehow I feel like, in the same way that Lover and Reputation are related, but not the same way as Folklore and Evermore, if you get what I mean.
Yes. Yeah, they're a continuation rather than like
complete...
Folklore and Evermore for me are like sisters.
Yeah.
Whereas like Reputation and Lover is like, it's like a grown-up version of, it's like a continuation rather than a linked. They're not like, they don't walk together. One walks beyond the other, if you know what I mean. Right. It's like really weird to talk about it.
Yeah.
But like Folklore and Evermore, they're together and they were birthed together and they walk along the world together. Whereas, Lover was birthed from Rep and continues onwards. It doesn't walk with Reputation, if you know what I mean.
One day we should do
a weird way of
I know, it's strange, but one day we should do our own Taylor Swift musical family tree, because I think it'd be interesting.
Yes.
Because I feel like, for example,
because there's so many links.
Red is very much linked to Folklore and Evermore. But anyway, we'll get into that one day. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Put a pin in that. And if you guys like that idea, let us know as well. But anyway, I feel like there'll be some kind of link, maybe an aesthetic. I just feel like because her aesthetic, I understand we're still in the Midnight's era in a way, but I feel like her aesthetic has somehow shifted, but at the same time is similar. I don't know, I feel like that.
What about sonically? Like, do you think that sonically it'll be similar, or?
That's a big one. I have no idea where she's going to go sonically. At the moment, I feel like yes, but if this is something that could be months away, which is it could still be a year away. These are just our guesses.
Yeah.
I feel like we might have something. Obviously, she's working with Jack. We know this. So I feel like we might have something again, not obviously it's going to be pop, I would say. So yeah, maybe a continuation. But again, with Taylor, there's always a bit of innovation in there as well.
Oh, 100%.
So with all this speak of TS11, you may have noticed that we haven't spoken about debut, which leads us to poor debut being excluded this year. No debut Taylor's version.
Yes, we have included that on the card, bingo card, which, coming from me especially, I think is probably a bit of a shock.
If you would have showed me this a year ago, I would have disagreed with you. I would be like, no, what do you think?
Yeah, me too. But I just think so far we've had, when you think about it, obviously we've had like Folklore and Evermore in 2020, then we've had Fearless and Red in 2021. 2022 was just Midnight, but then obviously 2023, Speak Now, 1989. I think 3 albums in a year is just extreme oversaturation, especially when you're on tour and are literally the biggest person on the planet. I just think that that's just so much to release. You know, that's just a volume of music that is just incomprehensible by the general public. I think 2 is a limit and 2 is enough to give them time to breathe as well. Otherwise you just wouldn't give, you know, it'd be like every 4 months or 3 months you'd be releasing something. That's just no time to let anything sit.
Because we do want them to all have their moment. We do.
Yeah, exactly. And just to digest them and process them and have them be part of your life before the next one pings along. So I just don't think that would be sensible. And I think if we're banging on about TS11 and if we've put that on the card, we have to say debut next year. Yeah, and I think maybe debut will have some sort of
moment,
something linked to it. I think you mentioned off air, you were talking about potentially a documentary.
This might be a bit controversial as well, but in a way, in my head, if I were Taylor, which I don't think I would have the fans that Taylor has because I would do this.
Yeah.
I would do like Reputation this year, TS11 next, and debut Taylor's version in 2026 to celebrate the 20-year anniversary of debut. It would be linked to a documentary all about Taylor's version and also the Eras tour. But I feel like that's such a far away date with the way that things are at the moment. It's not really realistic, but that's what I'd do.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Oh, we shall see.
Either way, maybe we will be completely wrong with the TS11 things, but perhaps we will get debut this year and link it towards the end of the tour, perhaps.
If no TS11, I think maybe end of tour.
Yeah.
Birthday celebration kind of thing. And then she could tag along Holiday Collection.
True.
Because we would be in December.
Be around December, yeah. So it's one way or the other. Maybe. We've gone for no debut this year, just because I really do think that it's been so long.
I think Taylor wants to say something.
Stuff. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, she wants to say something, and she wants to be like, this is what I've got to say currently, like, you know.
Yeah.
Because it must be quite hard as an artist to have to perform. And I know that lots of artists struggle with this. I think Kelsey has spoken about it. Obviously, she's performing a divorce album, but in her current life she's so beyond that. You know, she's in a now happy relationship, and Casey was the same. With Star-Crossed and stuff. It must be so hard singing about something that's like, I'm so past this.
It's difficult. Maybe it's a difficult situation. And
I believe like Miley Cyrus, who obviously is also known for reinventing herself, has said in the past that sometimes she struggles singing stuff that she's just, that's why she often doesn't really perform new, like, you know, past stuff very often, because sometimes she's like, I just don't relate to that, that's not me. So maybe Taylor, and I don't think Taylor's the same. I think she has a massive appreciation for her back catalogue. And I'm not saying that those artists don't.
No, it is a different situation, I do think, and it's what Taylor has been able to do. It is
the Eras tour.
Exactly.
But I do think maybe she'll want to be like, this is what I've got to say, and you know, this is the most new thing. I do think 2024 in general, detaching away from Taylor and just, you know, in a more just generalistic view, I think it's going to be a big year for music. I think we're going to have a lot of releases.
Well,
and I think a lot of the big names,
by the time that this episode
like Ariana
is out,
and stuff like that.
Exactly. By the time that this episode is out, Ariana will have released her, I guess, her new single.
Yes, single.
So, yeah, more to come from her. I am sure of that. But there's some big things coming this year. So it'll also be interesting to see. I don't know, perhaps Taylor is also playing it by ear, but she's definitely got things prepared and she's definitely got things to say, that's for sure.
Yes, because obviously she had a movement, didn't she, with Red, Taylor's version, with Adele and stuff like that, because, you know, the big titans don't want to be competing with each other.
True.
So,
and I don't know, maybe she will also want
movement of that.
Room to breathe, like what she did with Red and then Midnight. There was a whole year between Red and Midnight, which it was a very quiet year as well. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes. We don't know what music she may have, how things might shift and change, what one thing might become, what it might start up as, what it might end up as. It's very interesting though. It has me on the edge of my seat. Whatever she has to say, I'm all ears, I have to say.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But moving on from that, we have the last three here. So one of them is a song feature from Taylor, which is just another fun little one, this one really, isn't it? Because Taylor has given us features on different people's albums and songs over the last few years, especially the National, Aaron Dessner projects, basically, over the last couple of years.
And I think Taylor will be working with Aaron for a very long time. And I think if Aaron isn't maybe doing Vault or album like with Midnight, obviously he did do 3 a.m, but so she was working with him. But maybe if for some reason he isn't involved, I do think she'll be still working with him in some capacity. So maybe another feature across National, Bon Iver, maybe, her featuring on a Bon Iver song. I do hope so. I think there will definitely be a feature. We obviously had Alcott last year.
Yeah.
So hopefully, or maybe even a slightly roguer one, you know, and then a feature on something that we wouldn't expect.
You also mentioned to me, who was it? Who you mentioned to me working with Jack?
Yeah, so Maren Morris is working on her 4th album with Jack Antonoff. And obviously, Maren Taylor, they have already collabed. They are good friends. Jack, obviously, and Taylor. So maybe, potentially something there. That would obviously be a big deal. But yeah, so maybe. You never know. But yeah, hopefully, I would love that.
Oh, yeah, you know? Definitely.
I would absolutely love that. So
crossover between your country girlies, that's... the top for
yes,
us.
That would be definitely a dream come true. So yeah, I think that's pretty plausible, and I think we'll be crossing that one off hopefully at the end of the year.
Next up, we have another one, which is Taylor sings every song on her discography. Obviously, like realistically, she's not on her discography. I'm not including in this part of the prediction. I don't know, songs like Half My Heart or
features Half My Heart,
those don't count.
The Boys Like Girls song, those kind of things. No.
I'm just saying like her discography, like everything.
Yeah.
Again, I think the one that might hinder this specific prediction are the Christmas songs, even Christmas Tree Farm. Unless we get lucky on those last December dates, and it depends what she's up to. Maybe we'll get lucky, but if we don't count them, I do think she's going to perform like from her actual like CD discography 1 to 10. I do think we're going to get everything acoustically by the end of this year, which is such a treat. It's something that I really, really want to happen. So I'm manifesting
and I think that,
more than predicting.
Yeah, there's so many songs that we've wanted for ages, and it's so fun to finally hear them. And that would be such a cool way to finish. Yeah, Grazier, please save it for London. That would be such a cool way to like round off the Eras tour. Like, you've literally sung. Imagine being like, okay, now I've sung. Yeah, I've sung every single song, and then next album she can go back to the standard kind of like tour
whatever
of that
she wants
album,
to do,
and it makes so much more sense. Or or whatever next, because then you've done everything. So fingers crossed. I don't think that's unrealistic at all.
And then we go to our last prediction, which sounds like a bit of a downer, but I don't think it is really. It's just saying that no more Eras dates. So we really do think that the Eras tour will be concluded in 2024.
And Taylor will probably eat our words, like, you know, she'll then be like, okay, Eras tour 2027.
Oh my god.
But I think so. I think that, you know, it's good to then leave things on a high and kind of move into the next thing. And I think that it'll be a good way to, you know.
I'm still in two minds about debut, because it does. Then again, debut obviously is part of the Eras tour because it is part of its promotion and the idea of it. And she does talk about 17 years of music. Our song is there in the film. However, debut isn't like a big moment. It doesn't have its moment, to be honest with you.
It's featured on all of the merch, and that's basically about it, really.
So
and
that's
then the Eras tour film.
I go back and forth. Is it going to be linked to the Eras tour, or is it going to be linked to something onto its own? Something a bit more. So, I don't know. I do think she can go both ways with this one.
If she had like a debut announcement, it wouldn't be like, oh, it would have to be within that surprise song section.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously it hasn't really got its own section. But to be fair, that's when all the announcements have been anyway,
True.
So that wouldn't be different. But
I don't know. It just feels a little bit different, though, because it hasn't got its section. That's the only reason why I feel like we can play around with it a bit more than, say, Reputation.
Because Like, the only thing that she would do, I suppose, is start wearing, like, green outfits. Everything be green, and it'd be like, oh, that's the, that would be the only thing that would lead up to it.
I guess so. I don't know, maybe we're getting a bit of wishful thinking here, because you want debut to have its moment separated from things, and have... I honestly do think that what I said before, I know I always predict things that are absolutely incorrect, and then Taylor, like, knocks out of the park. But in my head, it makes sense, and it's cool.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's it. That concludes our bingo card. So there you go. Those are all of our predictions for this year. You can watch us at the end of the year conclude how badly we did or how well we did. I don't know. I think we've got a couple in there. I think we've got, I don't think... Chance of a bingo? I think we've at least half. I think we'll definitely make I think two. I'm going to say 2 lines. 2 lines? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, obviously, we can't see right now how they've all been placed, because, like we said, we're going to randomize them. They'll be on the screen, so you can see, like, how the chips have landed, like I said before. But whatever happens, I am quite confident in a few of these guesses, to be honest with you. So I can see something falling into place, a bingo somehow as well. Yeah, definitely. But like we said, if you do want to let us know what you think is most realistic or not, you can comment over on YouTube. Tell us what you think we've got right, we've got wrong. Let us know your predictions. And like we said, if you want to design your own bingo and tag us so we can have a look at it, you can do so. You can tag us over on Instagram. Our handle is @SwiftlySpokenPodcast. And with that, we've come to the end of this episode. Make sure to subscribe over on YouTube if you do want to follow along with us over this year and seeing which predictions come true, which don't, and how we discuss them in depth as we always do. Also, if you're listening over on Spotify or Apple Music, make sure to rate us. We are so grateful for all of the comments you leave us, all of the ratings that you give us. We'd like to thank you very much once again for listening to us all of that last year, and let's make this one just as fun. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll speak to you soon.